We had finished following the Messiah, and where do you go from the story of Jesus? And that actually led to the next idea, is there's a clear connection between the kings of Judah and the Messiah that would come.
We collaborated together as a team in spring of 2018.
Samuel being the primary character of episode 1. Before you get...
We see the guys get into a car and then exit at their hotel, checking
45 minutes or so before we get there, and so it would be possible.
Fade to black and then fade up to searching for a king title, fade to black.
Every good documentary starts with a good plan. Searching for a King was a major collaboration.
Right? And then we finally do this drone up and we reveal...
Start episode 1 with something more compelling.
It was really fun for me to see the series come together by having everybody pool their thoughts. And I think everybody feels like they had their hands on this project.
Then Stuart and Jet took that idea and really infused a whole new style to this series. What they wanted to do was create something new, something different, something fresh.
When it comes to traveling and bringing a crew to Israel, it's not a small task. There was a lot of things that had to happen even prior to ever pushing record on a camera.
Thrilled with this setup.
You are?
Really thrilled with this setup.
Today's travel day for Appian Media. We are all leaving our home and heading to Israel. In about 20 hours or so, we'll all be together in Tel Aviv.
Creating a documentary requires a tremendous amount of gear, and we brought a lot of gear with us to Israel, but we also rented some non-technical gear in country.
We rented a car and we filled it with equipment. We're pretty good at that. We are driving ourselves to Jerusalem. We're on our way to the hotel right now, so.
It's been a really long day.
We have an extremely talented team of individuals, all with very unique skill sets, which really makes for a great, well-rounded team.
I think one of the unsung heroes of our team is Dan. As soon as we drop off at a location, he is snapping some incredibly beautiful photographs of every location to capture as much of it as he possibly can so that other people can benefit from these visuals.
In a 2-week trip, I can shoot between 18 and 24,000 pictures. It's 5 to 1,200 a day.
We thank you for your service.
That's right.
Jeremy and Barry, these guys are incredible at what they do. And I love seeing them work together, how seamlessly they arrive at a location, they communicate with each other to know how they're gonna make the scene go.
Does it hit you more to read that here in the valley?
There's something about coming to this exact location and rereading it again.
I can't even begin to say how hard their job is. It's not easy to get in front of the camera at all, and they do it so well, and so oftentimes the rest of the crew is asking them to do it again, or move over here, or can you say this instead? And they're able to process that information and then really come across on camera as calm and collected.
Oh, you're doing a selfie?
The dynamic duo, we've got Jet and Danny Kaiser, and they're the kind of team that every husband and wife wishes they could be. They get out there and work together so well. Danny, we affectionately refer to as the B-roll queen. She's capturing these places and getting angles and things that, as the editor, I'm able to see on the other side of the trip and go, I didn't even know she went that far upstream to capture that. I didn't know that she spent time over there capturing the tortoise. Jet was there shooting aerials and shooting the scenes. Just an incredible team.
Craig, he had so many roles in the field on this trip. He was kind of the master Steadicam operator. Whenever we'd get to a location, you knew Craig was going to take that gimbal out and he was going to get some rock solid pans and slow motion and all kinds of things. In addition, Craig also managed all of our media. So at the end of the day, the first thing he did was pull all the cards from the camera and be downloading media and watching clips to make sure that things looked right and sounded right. And that's such an important part of the process.
So there's this guy named Stuart, and he comes along and says, this is gonna be a lot of fun. And then we get here and he's like, by the way, this is what we're doing. And then that's how I end up here. And it's always fun.
Stu was the field producer for Searching for a King, which pretty much meant that he was the lead problem solver in the field. And he was able to really create a solution for all the various problems and pitfalls that opened up during production.
If you could roll those up there in the front. Everybody, let's roll camera. All right, team, we are going to head down into the cave for a brief scene.
Stu was also the fearless director of the series and was able to function as the perfect ringleader for this circus.
Cool. All right, let's pack it up.
One of the biggest things this year was that we were finally able to bring our own drone. And Jet, not only is he an exceptional director of photography, the dude's a drone pilot.
So we're getting ready to launch our quadcopter up into the air. Part of what we have to do when flying a quadcopter here in Israel is making sure that we're following all the rules. We want to know if there's a no-fly zone, how high can we fly. Capturing great aerials is not a one-person job. Craig and Danny were spotters, and then I had Stu nearby who was using the walkie-talkie to direct the talent, to direct me as the drone pilot.
Guys, go ahead and turn around and go back to a point on the road. And go ahead.
Gliding over the battlegrounds of David and Goliath, or flying over where Saul took his last breath, was really quite amazing.
Time lapses are a really effective way of capturing some of the beauty of these landscapes.
With time lapses, you're trying to find an interesting shot that's going to change over time.
Our hotel was near the old city of Jerusalem. We were able to just go right up to the roof and shoot sunrises and sunsets. The only problem is somebody has to get up early and do it, and so that seemed to always fall to Craig and myself to do.
There is something really serene, something special about standing up on a rooftop in Jerusalem and watching the sun come up over, and you see it glinting off the Temple Mount. You see it starting to stretch across the old city. That is worth getting up early for.
And hung his body on Bet Shan. And then at that point,
we're all living and eating and working together. Really, we were just almost like one big family who happened to have cameras.
Hello? I'm proposing that we film the rest of the series from right here.
This is to help our talent not melt and to give Jeremy something to play with.
You gotta give it a thumbs up though. Because every first frame on a GoPro is this.
that's right.
Way too close,
I
too.
know it.
I'm sitting here watching everybody work. I mean, Barry's been turned into a glorified sandbag holding down this frame.
I'm literally dead weight now.
See, if I had short hair, I couldn't do this.
You know, just washing some 3,000-year-old pottery shards in our bathroom sink. No big. All part of the glamorous job of producing Searching for a King.
You know what this says in Hebrew? You will die.
We believe in being as thrifty with our donors' money as humanly possible. I got left in the tunnel. Well, as long as the camera's okay, I'll keep smiling.
He's always got a smile.
I like you, Dan.
I think he sleeps at night.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I'm getting a macro micro shot. Macro lens on a microscope.
He's staring you down.
This is the way it is. This is Barry's tired face. And this is Barry's excited face.
All right, guys.
But inside he's like,
so let's get our camera set. Switch in one more booster seat here.
All right.
After we finish this, you can get the impression that you leave behind.
Yeah, that's right.
You can make something.
Can I go back to the Coke machine now?
I'm leaving.
Now you're gonna make us get up.
The story of the United Kingdom, it's really kind of a dark story. Israel is looking for a king in humans and men when really the king is going to be Jesus, who's going to come later.
Stu and I knew that the visuals had to match the content. The lack of light helped tell the story and bring out the mystery and the darkness of this time in history.
We scouted first.
The result was us shooting in some very dark places.
There were several opportunities throughout the series to do this in caves and tunnels and make this contrast between the darkness and the light.
Israel is a really fun place to visit, but it's an incredible place to shoot a video series.
We are walking around the old city. We're capturing B-roll and capturing natural sounds throughout the city. It's not just about the visuals, but it's about all these natural sounds that we're hearing. How is the food in Israel? I'm so glad you asked. Wow. Chicken. This is what we absolutely love about shooting video, is embracing the culture, the different languages, the different environments. It's all a part of it. That's what makes it so much fun.
Something we did different this year was we brought experts in on a regular basis to help tell the story. That's archaeologists and folks who knew about these specific areas, and they really helped add a third dimension.
If you stood here 3,000 years ago, you would have seen that happen right in front of you.
We don't ever want to be the kind of Bible students that are afraid to ask the questions. We wanted to create a resource in searching for a king that helps people critically look at the information given in the Bible and ask, legitimately, is there evidence for this?
Lab is pretty unique here in Israel. You find a space that's available.
Hyperventilating just a little bit, but I think I'll make it. Guess where we are?
It's not scripted, it's not play acted. Our responses are real. We're wanting this to be very conversational, a very real series. You feel like you're coming along with us and you're learning with us and you feel like you're a part of the conversation.
We were in ancient Shiloh, and Scott is legitimately pulling these artifacts out of the ground right in front of us. Artifacts that haven't been seen or touched by humans in thousands of years. So it's really fun to be on a shoot where real things are being shared and exposed, and you're there with your camera to capture it as it happens.
I've never actually been to a site where the lead archaeologist is actually there and give us the opportunity to talk to him. And so this has just been thrilling. I've loved every minute of it.
I've lost track of how many times Barry has said, I haven't taken a tour group here. I would never take a tour group here. And that's when Stu and I can look at each other and go, we're in the right place.
We wanted the viewers to go on an adventure with us. There are some locations within the United Kingdom story that really, they're not in a city. And so we had to find ways to do that. So we rented an airplane and went up above these areas to see them from the sky.
Shooting in a small plane wasn't easy. It was a one videographer shoot, but we had multiple cameras. It was actually a lot of fun to be sandwiched in there with our guys and our pilot as we flew over Israel.
I probably picked the wrong day to have my liverwurst and head cheese sandwich.
One of the things we also did was we rented 4x4 vehicles to go up to the caves of Adullam, to go up to Khirbet Kiafa and see these ruins.
We have rigged 5 GoPros on the car. Actually, maybe 4, I'm not sure. We lost count.
Go from here straight up.
Straight up, I love to hear that. Straight up.
It says straight up.
We had Stuart hiding in the back, and he's tossing out some direction.
Jeremy, what are we doing right now?
We're gonna go off-roading.
We had a secondary 4x4 that had another camera crew in it, getting additional footage.
I feel like we climbed every mountain in this country. I have never done anything like that before in my life.
We spent 2 weeks in Israel and then we came back, and then post-production began almost right away. We came back with terabytes, hours and hours of footage, and it would take from May until our release in January to make these things as good as they can be. Jet was actually willing to come alongside of me and help with the post-production. So the coloring and the sound and the music are all Jet's handiwork. He and I were able to together turn this thing into something that I know I never would have been able to do alone.
There are elements of the United Kingdom of Israel that people are very familiar with, David and Goliath. But there are also a lot of things that people may not be as familiar with. And so we think that they're going to have a very deep, rich understanding of the United Kingdom of Israel after they see Searching for a King.
Video has the power to evoke emotion. And we realized if we could harness that and connect it with Scripture, we think it would be an invaluable resource to people all over the world. And we believe that Searching for a King has done just that.
I think this was a very successful project, and I'm looking forward to the future of what Appian Media has and what other projects we have in store. There's a lot. There's so much that the Bible holds, and we've just scratched the surface.